We begin in South Africa, where this month the Economic Freedom Fighters EFF is turning 10 years. Established in July 2013, the Red Berets have become the third largest political party at a national and municipal level in South Africa. Established by former African National Congress member Julius Malema, the party touts itself as a radical and militant economic emancipation movement with the aim of bringing together revolutionary militant activists as well as lobby groups under the umbrella of a political party pursuing the struggle of economic emancipation. Gaining traction election by election, the EFF threatens the single-party dominance of the African National Congress in the future South African politics. Let's talk about how all of this has been made possible in the course of a decade. Now, joining me to discuss this today on The Conversation, I have Mandla Shikwabana, the EFF member, an EFF member of Parliament, is joining us from Mpumalanga in South Africa. A warm welcome to you, Mandla, and thank you very much for joining us on The Conversation.
Thank you very much, and also let me also thank for your viewers on your studio. Yes.
Now, Amanda, looking back on the EFF's remarkable 10-year journey, could you highlight some specific milestones and accomplishments that have significantly shaped the EFF's identity and political impact?
Thank you very much. You know, as the EFF, we are celebrating 10 years anniversary on the 29th of July, which is this weekend. And then when the EFF started, many thought that it's a small party that it won't grow. It's a small party that it won't even achieve anything. But we have seen it throughout these 10 years that the EFF has achieved a lot. And the EFF is a grown baby as we speak now. And the EFF is ready to take over government. Some of the things that the EFF has done, you will agree with me that we are the champions of the land occupation in South Africa. And we are the champions also of saying that the land shall be given to people and the people shall have the land, because without the land, nothing else. Without the land, no one can claim that you are free or you've got the freedom as a black person if you do not own the land. Over and above, also the EFF also stands for free, quality and well-resourced education. We have seen in the universities under the EFF Students' Command, the umbrella of the EFF in the universities, where in majority of young people, young South Africans, the students in general, were able to go to university, register for free, and they were able to complete their studies. And after completion of their studies, they were even given their certificates, and they are now we also have a labor desk. We also have a gender-based violence desk, which these are the two desks which are actually playing a massive role in making sure that we represent the majority of our people, the neglected people of South Africa. Because in South Africa, we do not have a government, people leading themselves. And the EFF is organizing all these people behind the banner of the economic freedom in our lifetime, because we need to have this economic freedom as South Africans.
Mandla, from what you said, it seems the EFF has achieved quite a lot in its 10 years compared to other parties that are young. Now, PanAfricanism is a fundamental principle of the EFF's ideology. How does your party view its role in advancing the Pan-Africanist agenda, both within South Africa and on the continent? And additionally, could you elaborate on the EFF's collaboration with other Pan-Africanist movements and parties across the continent?
We need to have one Africa, and the Commander-in-Chief is always in the forefront in championing and making sure that all black people in Africa, we need to speak one language. We need to have one currency. We need to have one government. We need to have one strong army as Africans. And also it's some of the things that our leadership, and particularly the president, CIC, Julius Malema, is always championing. And if you come to South Africa, you will agree with me that it is only EFF in South Africa that speaks strongly for the protection and also strongly for the emancipation of Black people, emancipation of Africans and South Africans. So we must not have a situation where in South Africa, someone from Nigeria, someone from Namibia, someone from Zambia may feel that it's not at home. When you are in South Africa, coming from other African countries, you need to feel at home when you are in South Africa. And we are saying to this must not only happen in South Africa, it must happen across African continent. It must happen across African countries. Pan-Africanism is something that which the EFF is in the forefront of championing it. And we are going to champion it by making sure that there's one unity and there's unity amongst South Africans and Africans in particular.
Now, Mandla, in the past decade, the EFF has been known for its bold policy proposals, like you mentioned in the course of our conversation so far. Could you share some of the party's flagship policies that have been instrumental in promoting economic freedom and addressing inequality? How has the EFCC strategized to ensure the implementation and effectiveness of these policies?
We always speak of industrialization. And when we speak of industrialization, we're actually speaking of how work can be created or jobs can be created for our people. And when we create jobs, we need to create jobs that are decent for our people. It's one of the policies that the EFF in South Africa is championing. And you will agree with me that some of the policies is also championing of free, quality and well-resourced education in the institutions of higher learning, which is also in the forefront of the EFF, where we are saying that all young people, Black people who are qualifying to be in the universities must have access to education and must go to to universities. And also, as the EFF, we actually speak loudly and strongly so, and also with the issue of the land. When we speak of the land, we are speaking of things that we know that without the land, you are not having anything if you do not have the land. We may have a political freedom, and we are saying is the EFF, a political freedom without
economic freedom.
Is meaningless. So we need to make sure that we have economic freedom after political freedom, because majority of the African countries, we are celebrating a political freedom. And when you check this political freedom, it's not doing any justice to our people. Our people still stay in poverty. Our people still do not have proper roads. Our people still do, as we speak today. It's one of the things that which we are saying as EFF to say political freedom without economic freedom is meaningless. And how do we attain economic freedom? We attain economic freedom by making sure that majority of South Africans and majority of Black people and Africans participate meaningfully into the mainstream economy of the country and the continent as a whole.
Now, Honourable Shikwambana, you are a member of the South African Parliament, and the EFF has consistently advocated for combating corruption. Just recently, Justice Raymond Zondo, in what seemed like an indictment of Parliament, said that the Commission's report has not been implemented because of some interest in Parliament, and Parliament doesn't seem to have the political will to effect some of the recommendations in his report. Now, how does your party, the Economic Freedom Fighters, plan to work with relevant institutions to root out corruption in government and public sector?
We have been vocal as the EFF in Parliament with regard to the issue of corruption. Everywhere we go, we do not tolerate corruption. Corruption is one of the things that will never be tolerated. He comes and speaks of things that he created himself. That commission, it was just a group of friends sitting together there, checking who must they follow behind and all those type of things. And now he seems to be having a problem in terms of when it comes to the implementation of this Zondo Commission, report, simply because majority of the people that are found wanting in that commission are the people that which he sleeps with, are the people that he sits around in the table, eat with them. And these people now, they must be accounted for. They must go for, an accountant. This government of the is not doing anything because it's them and all there are leaders in the Zondo Commission. So Zondo, for him to come ahead, but it's being frustrated by his own people. So as the EFF, we are always vocal when it comes to the corruption, and we will always fight corruption. We've been fighting corruption in parliament, and we will continue to fight corruption in parliament. But the only time where the real Zondo Commission can come to action and people be held accountable, it's when the people of South Africa and the people of this country, in particular South Africa, realize that there is nothing which is going to happen with regard to fighting corruption in South Africa, only if they still have the as their governing party. The ANC, you are removing corruption, but you don't only remove the ANC and you put anyone a strongly fight corruption, and we are more vocal when it comes to issues of corruption. We do not tolerate corruption. So corruption is one of the things that when we look at it as the EFF, we act very quick. Once you seems to be corrupt, we come straight to you and we make sure that you account for that. You'll agree with me that President Jacob Zuma, he was made to account from that Zondo Commission that we are speaking about. And the people who were in the forefront of establishment of the Zondo Commission, it was the EFF in parliament, who were in the forefront and vocal that we need this commission so that this former President Zuma can be held accountable. And Zuma was indeed held accountable. If you also agree with me that Zuma also had to pay the Nkandla money that was used in his Nkandla there. And it was the EFF that was in the forefront, fighting and making sure that Zuma is held accountable. And today we are speaking, Zuma has been held accountable. And that are some of the things that we actually say as the members of the EFF and also as members of South Africans, that we only have one political party that is strongly fighting corruption and is vocal when it comes to corruption, and that party is the EFF, and we don't take chances when it comes to corruption.
Now, Honourable Shikwambana, South Africa, your country, is facing numerous challenges ranging from economic inequality, unemployment, social unrest, and also load shedding. In your assessment, what are the most pressing issues that need urgent attention, and how does the EFF plan to navigate these complex problems to create lasting positive change?
You know, all these problems we have faced in South Africa, your unemployment, inequality, poverty, now we've got another serious issue of load shedding, are happening also, I would say, in good times, because we are going to national elections next year. So the people of South Africa have to understand, and the people of South Africa have to be sober in their minds and making sure that when they go to vote, they must vote wisely, and they must vote knowing that when you put your cross in a ballot, you are actually putting a cross that which says to you, this cross will fight corruption. This cross will fight unemployment. This cross will fight load shedding. This cross will fight inequality in South Africa. This cross will fight poverty in South Africa. And you need to also make sure that who are the people who you are putting in power, because putting the ANC in power, it won't assist, because you are just putting different people but same organization, which all of them are equal, all of them they are corrupt, all of them they are useless, all of them there's nothing they can do to South Africans. So all these problems we are faced with in South Africa of unemployment, which is affecting majority of our young people as we speak today. Young people have to stand up next year. South Africans have to say, to stand up yesterday. Even old people, they need to be honest to themselves and also create a better future of their kids.
Now,
the future of their children, because for them continuing voting for these kids anyhow, they are putting their kids in the unemployed in majority. So it's only the EFF, and it's the EFF in government that will make sure that unemployment is kept in South Africa, that will make sure corruption is dealt with in South Africa. Load shedding will be a thing of a history as soon as we put EFF into power come 2024. All these things are happening at a good time, I may say, so that when our people go to ballot next year, they know which party and who to put in government, and that person and that party should be the EFF.
Now, Honourable Shikwambana, I'm happy you mentioned the 2024 general elections. I mean, since the advent of democracy in South Africa since 1994, the ANC has held sway. And if the people were so angry with the party, how come the ANC gets re-elected at every general election. Now, my question to you is, Honourable, is with the 2024 general elections approaching, what key message does the EFF intend to communicate to the electorate? How will the party differentiate itself from other political contenders and present a compelling vision for the future of South Africa? And are you also looking at going into alliances, into some form of alliances with other political parties, like the Democratic Alliance? Is your party open to that?
We have never closed doors for any negotiations with any political party. Any political party that will want to negotiate with the EFF, they're more than welcome to negotiate with the EFF. It's them, the like of your DA, who goes up and make noise and say they don't want to work with the EFF. If they don't want to work with the EFF, we also do not want to work with them. But we are always ready to work with anyone who wants to work with the EFF. 2024 national elections of South Africa, to us young people of South Africa, to us South Africans, we see it as our 1994. You will agree with me that in 1994, us, or majority of us young people in South Africa, we were not voting at that time. This time around, because of all these problems we are having here in South Africa, because of all these unemployment issues we have, mentioned, the load shedding, all these things you can mention of making our people to suffer in South Africa, we are going to say, and we're going to make our 2024, our 1994, because without going to the ballot and without going to vote, things will not change in South Africa. So the EFF always preach better life for all. EFF always says we are going to give our people decent jobs. We are going to give our people economic freedom. We are going to give our people water. We are going to give our people electricity. We are going to give people of Hammanskraal clean water, because people of Hammanskraal died because of the dirty water. And these people of Hammanskraal died in the hands of the ANC, died in the hands of the DA, died in the hands of other political parties that which are leading that metro there in Tshwane. So it is people of Tshwane, it is people of Hammanskraal who must stand up and make good choices as they go and vote next year and vote for the EFF, because we've been vocal even before that we need a government, and a government that is willing to work for our people. We need a government, and a government that has a political will to create jobs for our people. A government that has political will to fight load shedding. And all these parties that we see in South Africa, they are just clowning and speaking things that they can't even do. They are entering the 10 years, and we're going to celebrate our 10 years. We are no longer a baby anymore. We are ready to give our people decent jobs. We are ready to give our people water. Ready to give our people proper.
Honourable Shikwambana, are you there? Could you hear me?
So that after when they went who are participating positively and meaningfully in it.
Now, just before we begin to wrap things up, Honourable, land reform has been a contentious and complex issue in South Africa. What is the EFF's comprehensive plan for land redistribution, and how does the party aim to balance addressing historical injustices with fostering sustainable agricultural practices and economic development at the same time?
The EFF is all the land shall belong to the people. And when the land belongs under the custodian of the state, and the state should be the one who allocates the land to the people. And the state should be the one who knows that this land is given to Mandla, and Mandla is what is doing to the land. And if Mandla is not doing what is productive of that land, then the land and be productive on that land. So we are saying as the EFF, and we are saying as the EFF that the land redistribution, it's something that the ANC then South Africans tried to say, or the government of the day tried to come up with that story. But the fact of the matter is that it's not benefiting our people. It's benefiting a few group of people, friends of politicians, friends of ANC, friends of people who are connected politically. But when we take the land and make the land belong to the state and let the state be the one is distributing this land particularly, and what you must do with the land, and if you do not do what
Apologize for the audio quality. We're trying to reestablish connection with Honorable Shikwan Bana, EFF Member of Parliament in South Africa. Honorable Shikwan Bana, can you hear me? Are you there? Okay, just before we wrap things up, I'm just trying to pack as much as possible into this interview before we let you go in the next few minutes. Now, let's talk about critics of the EFF. Some critics of your party have expressed concerns about the financial sustainability of some of EFF's policies, such as nationalization and increased social spending. They say, you know, it's very utopian and socialist. How does your party plan to balance its ambitious socio-economic programs with fiscal responsibility and also long-term economic growth? Is it sustainable in the South Africa of today? Hello, Honorable, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yes, I was saying the EFF speaks of land expropriation
Fortunately, we won't be able to conclude that conversation with Honorable Mandla Shikwambana, EFF Member of Parliament, speaking about the 10th year anniversary of the opposition party, the Economic Freedom Fighters in South Africa. Thank you very much for your time, Honorable Shikwambana.